Invincible, Season 2, Part 2, Episode 6? Or is it Episode 2 of Part 2? Or is it Episode 6 of Season 2?
Yeah, they did this because of the ads. That's why they split it into 2 parts. That's what I believe, anyways.
Why, you get ads?
I get ads, yeah.
Did you not upgrade it when it either?
I didn't even know. I barely use Amazon, so it just happened.
Okay. Sweet. Anyway, what did you think of last week's and this week's episode?
Last week's was a really solid episode. For me, it was like I'm gonna say it was in like a nice 9.5.
Yeah, I love last week's episode.
Last week's was great. This week, it pumps the brakes a bit too much for my liking. It just kind of, like, some of the conversations they have just feel a bit flat. I get they're trying to, emphasize some drama that's going on. I understand that, but just the way it came about, it just felt a little bit awkward at times, especially with, the whole Eve and
Amber.
Obviously Mark and Amber as well, yeah. So just their little conversations that they had just felt a little bit weak in the sense of like, right, we get what you're trying to convey here, now perform it, because it just feels very like, it felt like NPCs talking to each other in a game.
To me, it feels like they're trying to just get this relationship over now.
I get that, but I feel like they could have just left Eve out of it. I mean, if that's how it goes in the comics, fair enough, but there is times when you can change and improve things from the source material.
Which Amber has so much more character in this than she does in the comics.
Yeah, so I would have much preferred if this episode focused on Mark and Amber's relationship kind of crumbling apart.
Well, it kind of did, though.
No, it did, but it felt like, I'm going to shoehorn Eve in there, kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
I liked what they did with it. Obviously, I liked them wrapping up the Sequid stuff from last week.
Well, did they?
Well, did they? But kind of continuing that cliffhanger, I thought that were great. The whole fight in there and Mark standing up to the Immortal. It just when he goes to get that thing and he just pushes him to the side, he goes, "No, I'm stronger than you. I'm faster than you. I'm doing it." And he's like, "Right, all right, yeah, no, yeah." So I thought that bit was great. And then once they lock all the Sequids in that room and they're running and all the Martians stop them and they go to Shapesmith, he needs to stay for punishment. Mark's like, "What type of punishment?" He's like, and they go, "Death," and he goes, "I understand." And then the next cuts to him flying out of the ship. He's like, "Go, go, go, go!"
Yeah, like I said, I still think this episode was good. I had fun with it, but just that kind of set a bit of a...
I think it wanted to start as fast paced and then kind of just wind down throughout it. The Rex stuff as well.
It kind of came to a very big halt, to be honest.
The Rex stuff as well. I thought that was great. Rex is a badass.
He is, but I mean, he did get shot in the fucking head. So, I mean, I kind of was a little bit confused as to the whole segment of that. I was like, oh my god, they've actually lost, but Rex somehow managed to survive.
Rex reminds me of one of them comic book characters like Hawkeye. Hawkeye's basically got no powers. So in some comic runs, Hawkeye might be a mutant. We don't know. But Hawkeye's just this guy. And I'm pretty sure there's like a comic panel where he just gets absolutely fucking riddled with fucking bullets and survives it. Kind of take Rex like in that sort of regard. And you look at where he got shot in the head and it's like, alright, maybe he's super powered, because he has got powers. Maybe his super poweredness helped him with that. But when he's just punching the guy with his stump and caving his head in, And Ray.
Yeah.
Ray survived. Shrinking Ray survived as well, which was, I thought she were dead.
Yeah, I was a bit confused. Like, it was very gut-wrenching in last week's episode when it seemed like she had been killed from being eaten. So, it's cool to see that she actually survived. We got to see the actual outcome of that, so that's good. But, yeah, Duplicate, or whatever.
Duplicate,
Duplicate, she's gone. You know.
Yep, poor Duplicate.
Yeah, Lincoln ain't taking that lightly.
One, the Immortal.
Yeah.
One character who you thought would probably be around a bit longer because they can make copies of themselves. They just literally got to that last copy of. Yeah. And I think the Immortal kind of connects with her because she knows, like him, what it's like to die over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So that's probably where that connection comes from. Which gets him so pissed off at the end when he flies up to meet Alan the alien.
Yeah.
That Alan stuff were great. And he's saying, what about the telepathic communication thing? And Mark tries speaking to Invincible. He goes, no, it's got to go through me to him. He says they're working on a patch for that, though.
Yeah, no, Alan the alien were great. Everything that happened, everything else was great. I mean, that being said, I really liked the conversation where it bounced between the two conversations between Mark and Amber. Yeah. I like that.
I thought Mark Hamill were great in that scene as well as Art.
Yeah.
Rosenbaum.
Yeah, but we've got some interesting stuff with the books that he's written, that Nolan's written. So I like that. I do really like that idea. It fit really, really well. Kind of curious though as to like why would he? I mean, I guess he would have written them as just stories, but he wouldn't have written them as like this is like a contingency plan kind of thing. So that's why I kind of like it. And I'm fine with it, but it was cool to see that these comics came to life, and I like the idea of Omni-Man went to this planet and the gravity was just so strong that he couldn't even fly, and these creatures were so strong because of being evolved in that gravity. I thought that was really cool.
Well, no, I think they can fly. I think that was just from that story's perspective. I think they can still fly on that planet against Ragnar's. I think he was just telling it, from like a different sci-fi perspective.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, they're not invincible, so...
No.
They can be killed, obviously, so... I don't know. Maybe I like to think that the gravity was, like, holding back their flight. I can imagine the flight has something to do with gravity.
Well, you got to think he wasn't looking at flashbacks, was he? He was reading from the perspective of the books, and in them books, he wasn't a Viltrumite.
Yeah, I know. I get that, but
yeah.
I get that, but it's still like I mean, he landed into the ground and like his feet kind of crushed into the rock. So I mean, it doesn't really matter.
No, it's cool little back.
I think it's I think it's showing the perspective as him, but you can also think that as well, which both ideas are fine. But yeah, next week's episode, I'm quite intrigued because it brings back that
Angstrom Levy.
Yeah, that really gross brain head thing kind of still freaks me out. But really interested to see what his character is going to do next.
Yeah, and we're getting closer and closer to that black and blue suit on the title screen.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
I don't know what that means.
Well, he just wears a black and blue without the yellow. So that's what the next title screen's going to be. When it's coming on now and the bits are falling off. So
interesting. I didn't know that.
Can't wait. I think next week's episode is going to be great, and I think it's going to leave us on a big fucking cliffhanger. And I do believe the season finale is going to leave us on a big cliffhanger as well.
Yeah, probably. But it needs to hurry up and come out. That's all I'll say.
What would you do if they just pulled a mad one and season 3 came out at the end of the year?
I'd be so happy. I don't know. Yeah.
Because I've been working on it.
Yeah.
You got to think
That's
back
it.
when Invincible Season 1 came out, they hadn't even started working on Season 2. It wasn't even greenlit by the time it was finished.
Mm.
So, yeah, there was a lot of things that needed to get into place. Anyway,